Today I'll be talking about 40 plus Rocket League players that have changed the game. This could range from something very small, something very big, and in one case on this video, I have someone that kind of had a bad reputation when it came to Rocket League, but more on that a little bit later. Now, if there are some people that I forget on this list, apologies. It's kind of hard to make a list like this that's 100% accurate. I even use ChatGPT to figure out players that I forgot about. My own memory, asked other friends. I got a lot of the players on this list that have had an impact on the game at one point or another. Now, this can range anywhere from content creators, professional players, freestylers, even casters. We got a good chunk of people in this video. And how it will work is I'll just be talking over some gameplay of me playing the game and having their name at the top of the screen because I have some time constraints. I got to get my videos out every Friday, so got to make sure I stick to the schedule. Without further ado, though, let's hop in and start talking about our first creators. So we have to start off with talking about F2. A lot of newer players might not know who any of these players are because they were there at the start and they're no longer really uploading Rocket League content at all. So this consists of Neat Mike, a great creator, always funny, very entertaining. John Sandman, the first Rocket League creator to hit 1 million subscribers, and to this day, he's still the exact same dude, always chill, true to his word. He might have gone to like gambling kind of stuff, but he's still the same guy. We have Wolfless, which I don't know much about this guy. I don't know if he really uploaded much content when it came to Rocket League at all, but I know he was in a lot of John Sandman's videos early on. Lastly, we have Phantom Ace. I believe he joined a little bit later on in F2, but he was in a lot of John Sandman blind trading videos, and just a lot of people remember him. Now, I myself did not know who Sir Classy was when I saw his name, but I could put two and two together and realize he made the Classy flick. If you don't know what this flick is, it's very good for generating a lot of power on the ball, where otherwise you couldn't have gotten that power at all. So this was very game-changing when it came to just ranked play in general. So these next two kind of go hand in hand because they made a lot of content early on together. They were both professional players at the start, but I see them more as content creators and pros. This is Sizz and Rizzo. These were the duo players back in the day. They were funny. They knew how to make good content. They had a good sense of humor for professional players. They weren't always serious all the time. They were mainly jokesters. Sizz, on the other hand, I think he became a coach later on for like NRG. Still, great content creator, great player. Rizzo, on the other hand, I think he was a pro for a lot longer. Kind of recently retired. It was a bit ago. But I think some people might know him as having some wacky ass controls. From my memory, his left stick on his controller, pushing it up, was to go forward. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty certain that was one of his controls. And also, talking about Athena, Rizzo's, I think, soon-to-be wife, or maybe they're married already, I'm not quite sure on that. Athena hasn't had like a crazy impact on the game. Again, she made a lot of videos with John Sandman, I mentioned previously, but she has her own title in the game, being the crossbar queen. Around like 2020, maybe 2021, she had a lot of problems with hitting the crossbar after flicking the ball, and people noted that as the Athena flick, which obviously can kind of get annoying when people remember you as a person that kept hitting the crossbar. But knowing that she had a literal impact on the game, having her own title, being the second person to ever get her own, that's kind of impressive. A lot of players will not really remember Linkerdoo. New players won't even know who he is, but you have to thank this guy for one huge thing. He popularized the speed flip many years ago, maybe 2018, 2019. He had made this training pack that consists of around 30 different shots. And there was one infamous shot nobody could figure out. Almost everyone and their mom was doing this, all the pros, the content creators, because there was a huge prize at the end. I believe it was Alpha Boost or all the Alpha items that he owned. And the one shot, no one knew how to do it because speed flipping wasn't really a thing. And he remembered that there was this one person that had shown him before how to speed flip. And you just have to thank him because speed flips are used for kickoffs, recoveries, beating opponents to the ball, sometimes even demoing. He just really changed the game for the better. Now this next lineup, it's going to be maybe like 5 to 10 players depending on who I consider like the top tier content creators. But first we'll talk about Mertzy. All these creators haven't had like a direct impact on the game, but they've brought in so many players because of their great content. Mertzy was, you could say, a high level ones player. I think he's got SSL a couple of times. You know, his personality was just great. He never really got mad at the game. He was always super chill. He tried really different challenges from other people. He was just fun to watch. Now, Sunless Khan, I think the second most subscribed YouTube channel for Rocket League content, around 2 million subscribers. He makes absolutely fantastic storytelling videos. It almost feels like you're watching a movie with some of his highly edited ones. Nowadays, he switched over to history stuff because that's his big passion. But when it came to Rocket League content, he reached more than just Rocket League players. Because of his great storytelling, he probably brought in thousands, hundreds of thousands of players possibly to Rocket League just because of how great his content was. And Musty is kind of similar to that, but his editing wasn't as amazing, but he was similar to Sunless Khan, where his storytelling was really good, his editing was really good, thumbnails were super iconic, so everyone just knew that this was Musty, and he has been able to reach out more than Rocket League, like the Sidemen, 1v the entire Sidemen. Him by himself versus all of them. I think it was like a 1v6 or something like that. So you could definitely see that he had a huge impact on the game when it came to reaching players. Now, Floomp, on the other hand, he stopped uploading content for a long time. He was more popular during 2018 or maybe 2017 to like 2020, around that area. He was kind of educational, top 10 kind of YouTuber as well. He was the opposite of Sunless and Musty. He didn't have crazy edits. It was just a guy talking, and that was really all you needed during that time of Rocket League. Lethamyr is arguably the most influential Rocket League creator when it comes to nowadays, because still to this day he is uploading original content, constantly having unique ideas of changing the map in ways that you wouldn't think about, or just changing the game's overall play to where it doesn't make any sense at all. So go check out his videos if you haven't seen him before. Otherwise, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, Rocket Sledge is a little bit less known of a creator. He was here since nearly the beginning and hasn't had like huge traction or huge reach or anything like that. Mainly just because of the type of videos he makes. They're not super highly edited. Similar to Floomp, where it was just him talking. There is a likely chance that he inspired a lot of people to do demos in the game. You could say that he was one of the first pioneers of getting a lot of demos, because that was his known thing before he became a YouTuber, or maybe it was early on. He was just the demolition guy. We also have C-Bell, pretty similar, I'd say, to the previous content creators, just not as highly edited. He does unique challenges. I would say that his way of editing is very attention grabbing. It's not overstimulating or anything like that. Just a really good content creator overall. Getting on to the last few here, we have Heyson, my favorite Rocket League creator. He's very similar to Sunless, where his storytelling is great, his editing style is amazing, and to this day, he's making unique content. But he's not like other players where he's uploading content for the sake of it. He takes something in the game that actually has a very interesting premise to it, if that's the right word, and makes it super interesting to watch. So I believe he is one of the last Rocket League creators that still is uploading content because he enjoys it. We have Thanovic here. One of my previous videos, scoring every letter of the alphabet, he was my inspiration for it. He made interesting content as well. He did quit because I think he lost passion, but still, he was a great creator. I didn't really know where to put a Vample because he does make a lot of content. He's also a freestyler, and you can consider him almost like a semi-pro because he's just that good. It's very unique to have a freestyler, content creator, and a really high-level player all in one. So he had it all. Now, what makes a Vample unique from almost every other freestyler in this game is, one, he's on keyboard and mouse, which is a very uncommon thing to see, and he, you could say, popularized ground freestyling, so 360ing under the ball while keeping it on top of your car, doing really crazy mechanics and high-level ones, literally freestyling to SSL was kind of his whole thing. Even still, it's his thing. Just overall, his playstyle was really unique. Still is. A lot of players probably have gotten inspired just by how he plays. Okay, so Spook Luke, if you know this name, you're probably going to pair him with controversy, because there's been a lot of allegations against him saying like he scams people or he treats people poorly. Now, I'm on the side of, if there's good evidence, I will believe it, but at the same time, I don't really care because I don't know Spook Luke personally. Outside of him having all those allegations, controversy, all that, you know, push all that to the side, he does make good content. He makes easy to consume, easy to understand, while whether or not he's the rank that he's trying to get people to achieve, you know, that's one thing that kind of makes me a little bit upset when someone says how to get to SSL, but they're not SSL themselves. But past that, Spook Luke still does make great tutorials. I can't really say that he doesn't. Now, this might be a little bit weird to include, but I'm going to put my friend Tough Plays in here. I've known him for many, many years, and through his dedication, he has been able to achieve the thing he wants, or from my perspective, the thing that he wanted. Having content creation be a possible job for him. Now, he's somewhat been able to achieve this with 50 to 200,000 views per video because of his great storytelling. He doesn't upload for the sake of uploading, similar to Heyson. He uploads things that'll be interesting, and if he doesn't have an interesting video, he simply won't upload. He's also really good at doing streams, constantly talking. He almost has like a podcast feel to him, so you can have him in the background. It's not overstimulating, but it's also kind of interesting just to listen to him talk. I can go on and on about Tough Plays because I know him I wouldn't say personally, but I do know many things about him. So if you're watching this Tough, which I know you probably are, you're welcome for including you. Okay, so that is all of the content creators in my eyes. So we're going to go over to the pro scene. Now, there are countless pros that you could argue that have had impact on this game. So I'm going to include the ones that I know of, also ones that my friend Tough had wanted me to include as well. So we're going to start with Kronovi. I mean, everyone knows Kronovi if you've been around for a little while. He was the mountain when it came to the start of the game. In terms of when the pros were at their best, Kronovi has still never been topped. When he was the best player in the game, he was able to 1v2 the two other best players and still win. That's how good he was. Of course, he won the first RLCS because he was that good at the game. I don't know if he won any after. He kind of got dethroned pretty quickly. Still to this day, he's pretty high level. Maybe like mid SSL, like 2000, 2100, maybe 2200, somewhere around there. I don't know if he's still in the pro scene, but Kronovi, without a doubt, is the best player when it comes to who was the best during their time. Now, this might be kind of dumb for me to include somebody that I don't really know anything about, because I kind of counteracts the point of this video, but I'm putting Gibbs in here because I've just known that name for so long, so he's had to have an impact on the game somewhat. He started off as a pro, but quickly became an RLCS analyst, I believe, and he was just really good at telling people how to become better at the game. I don't know if he made content, but I'm going to assume so, because just being a pro player and RLCS analyst really isn't enough to have a reach, so I'm fairly confident he made tutorials towards the beginning of the game teaching players how to become better. Lachinio, a pro that almost everyone has forgotten about because he was there at the start, just like Kronovi, and fell off, but because he wasn't the best player, not everyone's going to remember him. So Lachinio, I would say, is very similar to Kronovi, where he was really good at the start. He was arguably one of the best aerial players when it came to like air dribbling, maybe aerial hits and all that stuff. And he was one of the early pioneers of tutorials as well. I would assume similar to Gibbs. Now, one pro player that is still having an impact on this game because of the mechanic that they made, Cuxer97. I mean, everyone knows what a Cuxer pinch is. Those are from Tough Play's channel, Ka-chow pinch. Now, the Cuxer pinch is arguably one of the most useful mechanics because you can catch the opponents off guard so much that it doesn't even make sense that you could score this goal. You can score it from one end of the field right into the opponent's net just because of how powerful it is. Now, Tough Plays wanted me to include Over Zero because he has had one of like the most iconic air dribbles in RLCS. And according to my friend Tough as well, Over Zero was the first substitute player in RLCS to win a championship and won the first World's MVP. That's showing Over Zero did something almost no other player could do during his time. And even today, substitute players almost never get on field just because the pro players are so damn good that they don't even really need substitute players. Some of the teams don't even have substitutes anymore. Okay, so these next three I have to include together because they were all on a team at one point and they all have kind of had their own impact in a way. So let's start with Squishy Muffins. So we all know his iconic ceiling shot. I think it was RLCS Season 5. And Squishy just has had a huge impact. His tutorials, he's still making content to this day. Now, he is retired pro, but he is still able to keep up at that high level, competing literally at #1 in threes. And probably 2200, 2300 in twos. Even pairing up against the best pro players, he can still hold his own. So he is just really good overall. Justin is very similar to Squishy, except his mechanics are arguably better when it came to the time frame of them becoming popular pros or getting fame. Justin was Squishy on steroids pretty much. He was just the guy when it came to mechanics. Him and Squishy, I think, are top 1 and top 2 in threes, so you could just see that they are dominant when it comes to threes. Twos, I would assume Justin is up there as well, just like Squishy, maybe not as high. Justin has had arguably the biggest impact because of his most iconic goal, creating the "This is Rocket League" quote and quick chat in this game. So thank Justin for "This is Rocket League" if you use that quick chat a lot. And now we have Garrett G. That was kind of unfortunate because he has had like a good run when it comes to RLCS, but he's always been like the runner-up. He did win an RLCS, I believe it was Season 8. He was chasing that bag for so long, but it shows that with enough dedication, you can achieve your goal. And overall, though, he is a really solid player in almost every aspect of the game. Now, Arsenal is interesting because he's similar to Rizzo and Sizz, but he was like a professional player a lot longer. But I'd argue he had even more of an impact just because of what kind of person he was. He was very serious when it came to like RLCS. He was a really good team player. But outside of that, he was just a complete jokester. Always making people laugh. always having a good time. I don't know if he's ever really gotten mad. I don't really know. But unfortunately, he's became one of those players that reacts to content, which in my opinion is lazy. But because he reacts to like RL Insanity and he sticks to his own niche, I think that's okay. Arguably the most impactful pro is Zen. I know. Some of you are going to be tired of hearing Zen, but it's hard to say that he didn't have an impact. He single-handedly carried his team to his first RLCS championship, and everyone agreed in the world that he was the best, which is something nobody was able to achieve other than Kernovi. Now I got 2 more pros coming up. Turbo Pulsa. He has won the most championships in this game. He's a 4-time world champion. He has his own title for that. He's had a literal impact on the game, having his own unique title because he is just that good. I don't know if he has any like crazy notable feats when it comes to RLCS. I know he had one like failed flick and it faked the opponent because it was such a terrible flick and people crowned it the turbo flick or something like that. When you have someone that has won the most championships, you have to mention them at some point. And my personal favorite pro, which no longer is with, okay, that sounds really bad. He is no longer in the RLCS scene. I believe he's still alive, so that's good. But Jacob, I mean, there was one time where he came on scene with a huge foam head on his head. And later, I believe that got added to Rocket League, or maybe it was in Rocket League. I'm not sure which is which, but he was a jokester similar to Arsenal, but even more of a joke. In RLCS, he used like the breakout with the big foam head on it. So you could just put those 2 and 2 together and know that he was just an interesting character. Okay, we're getting pretty close to the end here. We're going to be talking about some freestylers that I believe had an impact more than just Rocket League. First, let's talk about Pulse MK and Jazer. These 2 have been around since the start of Rocket League, and they were really able to push the limits on the earlier stages of this game, showing what true mechanics can be. They were the first to really do air rolling, and they were always super consistent. They pretty much were paired together because they were always playing all the time. And still to this day, Jazer does make content. I don't know about Pulse MK. I just know that he's with Jazer a lot, so that's really all I know. Pulse Fire, my personal favorite Rocket League content creator when he uploads, because he does the complete opposite of Sunless. It's not highly edited, but it's lazily edited in a way that's funny. He just does simple cuts. He just simply shows things on screen, no animated effects, no drop shadow. He just pops it on screen, cuts to different things, and he just has a funny sense of humor. Go watch his content. You'll get a good laugh. Okay, we're on to the casters. First up, we have Johnny Boy. I mean, he's done so many show matches that you can go to his channel and almost find anyone 1v1ing anyone. And he casts over RLCS right now. So he has influence over the game. So we have to mention him somewhat. James Bot, newer players might not know who this is. I don't even think he casts in RLCS anymore. But he was kind of a troll, joining in accidentally in the show matches, or I guess RLCS matches. And he was just interesting as a character. Now these next 2, I personally don't know who they are, but Tuff said that they contributed to the "This is Rocket League" quote when Justin had scored that goal. This would being Shogun and Findable Carpet, so I don't know a whole lot about them, but Tuff said to include them, so I will include them. Now we had to include a map creator because, well, why not? This is French Fries. I know, weird name, interesting name. What is he known for? Or what are they known for, I guess? They have the most subscribed map on the Steam Workshop, being the Dribble Challenge. That has like 30 different levels, super iconic. I even get on this map when I need to train my flicks and stuff, so definitely has some crazy influence when it comes to the Workshop maps. Now, this might be a little cliche, if that's the right word, or cringe, I don't know, one of the 2 things. I'm gonna put myself on the list, okay? Now, this is more or less a joke rather than truth, but I hope to one day, like, be able to reach more than Rocket League. I want to start out as a Rocket League creator and reach higher and higher heights, or feats, however you want to think about it. And that's been my goal forever, being a YouTuber for the past 5 years. I want to make this a dream job. I want to be able to help people with the money I get. I want to be able to live my life. If I ever have a family, you know, I want this to be a comfortable lifestyle for me. I don't usually get too personal when it comes to YouTube videos, but, you know, one day, man, I will reach that status. Well, that has been 40 plus Rocket League players that have had an impact on this game. I don't know if I'll make like another video like this, only because I can't think of any other players, even, you know, asking ChatGPT and other friends, that have had enough of an impact to really have them mentioned. So if there's any that, you know, I forgot, let me know in the comment section. You don't have to leave a like unless you enjoyed the video, or subscribe unless you like my content, you know, anything like that. But that's all I got for you guys for today. So I'll see you guys next Friday. Thanks for watching. See you later.